and it's a book meant to trap you. Let's go to Three Eyes. You're finally there. Okay, Three Eyes, what's up?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Good. Starting your clock. Go ahead.
Tight. Nice. Hey, I wanted to talk about Buddhism mostly. So,
Okay.
they say that we're here on Earth to suffer, and that we're in this loop of just constant birth and death, and basically God created us. I don't know. It's kind of like we are God, and God is like just having an experience through all of us, and yeah, I don't know.
That sounds right to me. I mean, again, I know a lot of people describe it as we are God, but we forgot. It's not that we forgot. It's that we've been tricked, grossly tricked, massively tricked to where now when we ask for something and it comes true, we think an outside source. Or when we work on a project and it comes through like we want it to, we think somebody else. When we need help with our current life situations, we look for a guru, we look for a pastor, we look for a priest, we look for everything other than the true source of everything, which is inside you.
Yes, sir. That's called the spark of life. So,
right, we wouldn't even be living without it.
Yeah, our consciousness, and that's what's creating reality.
Correct.
And it's hard to comprehend and it's hard to imagine, but we are the creator.
Correct.
But it's like,
and this is why they force feed you with nonsense, is because if the whole world starts believing in the crap that the media puts out there, like certain ailments or certain sicknesses, if they put it out there and we're so fucking dumb that people start buying into it, then it becomes something.
Sure. Like the Stockholm syndrome you were talking about. But they say it's hermetics. So the hermetic says that everything is the mind. And I think that's like a really good foundation of teachings to like spread to the world. They say that hermetics can be found in like almost all the religions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty cool. But yeah, basically everything is just it's like energy and frequencies that are being interpreted by your mind, kind of, in a way. But through
I'm totally anti-simulation because I think that's just a dumb word, but things are solid. I mean, people say like, oh, they're not solid. No, it is solid. I mean, you can try and run through that wall as many times as you want and you're going to hit it. You're a physical being here in a physical world where there's things that are physical. So to call that a simulation is a little iffy to me.
I feel you. That's where the quantum mechanics comes in, because through the observer effect, that's where it takes the energy and the chemicals and the frequencies and it turns it into solid matter.
Huh.
And our bodies are like the interface. We're like the computer that's creating like how a computer creates a video through zeros and ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Earth is being projected through our consciousness. It's not really it's kind of like a movie projection a little bit.
Yeah, that's funny. So if that was the belief, then the idea of what if a tree falls in the middle of the woods, does anybody hear it? The answer would be no.
I feel you on that. I think the answer is still yes, because we live in an objective reality, like blue.
But I thought you said it's the thought of the people around it that is creating the solidity.
I think it's the thought of God that's creating the solidity. So God's like the dark matter. It's like the glue that's holding our reality together, that makes everything solid.
I can agree with that.
I'm sorry?
I said I can agree with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice. But yeah, so that's just basically where my mind is at, is that through the ego. So yeah, the Buddhists call it the ego. They say that's why we're lost. You said it earlier that we're all lost. And that's what the Buddhists say that we're lost because of, is because of the ego, that humans all have an ego and it's trying to tell us that we're not God when subconsciously we know that we're all God.
Yeah, so people might get confused on that because they think when you say ego, it's supposed to be like you shed yourself, but you are an emanation of God. So it's not a matter of getting rid of your ego. It's more a matter of recognizing who you are. Right? Because if you realize that you're timeless, that you also are the creator, and I don't mean you are the creator, I mean that we're all a piece. The only way I've heard it described best is like a jigsaw puzzle. right? A jigsaw puzzle has a picture on the front of it that's a beautiful landscape. Okay, it's got a bridge and some flowers, whatever. But inside the box is a mess. It's a disaster. It's full of just pieces. And really, none of those pieces are impressive. None of those pieces by themselves can do much. You could put it on the table and look at it and be like, cool, a corner piece, big deal. But as you start to put those together, something starts to emerge. And so I truly believe that this is why home teams win baseball games more than they win away games. Again, you have to be careful on that because people say, well, why don't every home team win? Well, because if the crowd believes that their team is going to lose or knows they're going up against a better team, then they are projecting that onto the players. And so I believe that we actually can bring, this is why in any sport it counts. There's no sport that can say, oh, we don't have a home field advantage. Even sports where the field's the same. A basketball arena is a basketball arena. A basketball hoop is 10 feet, 10 feet. And it can't all be the crowd, or again, then they would win every game. So it's more a matter of us actually willing things to happen. So I believe that if we all got together, if we all showed up in a country in Africa, every person on the earth got together, that our power would be so strong that the dome would open and God would come down and say, congratulations, you have won the game. No, I'm not kidding. I'm kidding about that. But I'd be willing to try it.
That'd be awesome. That's a really great experiment.
Yeah, and I think that we can experiment with this. But I mean, people should do the rice experiment. The fact that you can change the constitution of rice through your voice is exactly what we're told the world was created through. The world was created through vibration, through voice. Why is it that I can take cooked rice and I can put it in 3 jars, neutral, love, hate, and I can speak loving words to the love rice and hate words to the hate rice, and at the end of a month, the hate rice is clearly molding and disgusting, and the love rice is sitting there perfect as can be. What is that if it's not an unharnessed? And here's the thing about science. Science will never observe that. Why? Because science doesn't believe in anything that you can't quantitate. So since you can't write down on a research paper how much love I put into that jar, and you can't write down how much hate, they just erase it. And if everything that is because of that line of thinking, then we've been reduced to look at everything in a quantitative way. And that's part of the trick. Science is tricking you. Religion is tricking you. Your pastor tricked you. Your teacher tricked you. Even your parents sadly tricked you because they were also tricked. NASA's tricking you. The TV's tricking you. The news is tricking you. Everything is meant to take away from that one solid truth, which is we are capable of more than anybody will admit.
That's amazing, bro. That's also what the Buddhists say, is that this world is just a distraction from God. So God created this world just so it could be distracted, and so it doesn't have to like focus on itself, you know? And that's like really interesting what you say, because here on earth, they're trying to distract us and capture our attention. But what are they trying to capture our attention for? And what do they not want us to think about?
Well, it's
most likely.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, it's most likely ourselves and like these deeper truths that come through. I always think about, so the Buddhists also talk about the Akashic records, which is just a field of information where all the knowledge in the universe is supposed to come to you.
Right.
But if you're constantly inundated with a bunch of information and they're constantly capturing your attention and filling your mind with just frequencies and stuff, then you're not able to tap into that.
Did you watch my stream on remote viewing?
Was it recently?
That's maybe 3 months ago, 2 months ago or something. You might want to check it out. We did it twice, and it's because the first time I didn't really believe it. And I don't want people to trust me. So I encourage you to reach out to one of those people, either Sasha or the guy that did it, Naeem, and try and see if they will prove it to you. Because here's what happened. I thought of something. I looked through a magazine until I found something that I wanted to focus my energy on. I focused my thoughts on that. I put that picture in an envelope, and then I wrote on the envelope a made-up number. I forgot what it was. L705, whatever. So then I told them it's L705, and they said, okay, we'll get back to you in a couple days. A couple days go by, they get back to me, we're ready, we have a show, and they freaking draw what I was looking at, what I was thinking about. Now, the way that they've described it that works well for me, because I didn't believe it before, and I'm not even saying I fully believe it now, but it matches a lot of what I think, right? So here's when you talked about the Akashic records. So the way that she described it to me, that I was like, wow, that's brilliant, is imagine that in the sky, in the Akashic records, there's a bunch of little library drawers, right? Again, I'm just describing it for a thought. This doesn't mean I believe that there's library drawers in the sky. But if we just are confused and lost and we don't know what we're doing, you can't tune into anything. You're just lost. But when you focus it down to now, I'm thinking of a library drawer, L705S, and now I pass that on to her, and she talks to Naeem, and they go and they sit in a room, they erase all their thoughts, and they just focus on that number. And guess what? There's nobody who can say that what they drew, because here's another thing, what they drew on the second night would have not been correct on the first night, and what they drew on the first night wouldn't have been correct on the second night. You should see the circle that they drew that is the exact circle I put into the envelope of the Grand Canyon. So what it tells me is that I believe that just like Dr. Emoto, found that water has memory and that water reacts to people's thoughts. And so everything, I think that there's water everywhere, right? Water is the atmosphere. So we can actually transmit thoughts through that medium. We just don't know how to do it. And when we sit down and we put it in that drawer, remember, I'm thinking about that drawer and they're looking in that drawer. And if we both erase everything else from our minds, what do you know? They were able to read my mind. So is that the truth? Well, here's the problem with anybody who believes in science or any skeptical person. You don't want to deal with them because they already don't believe, right? So you can't have somebody like who believes in science test that. Why? If I told somebody who believes in science or Red's rhetoric, go look at this rice jar, and you say good thing, and then what he'll do, he won't even do it, and he'll come back a week later and be like, you fucking idiots, it doesn't work, right? Because they already don't want it to work. So people in this chat already, they don't want that to be true, you know? Jeran, just to reiterate, yes, because God gave us the ability to speak life and death onto creates and things, as why he told us to be righteous with our words and actions. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Is your clock up? Your clock's up, yeah.
If we could just imagine that all of our consciousness is connected through a field of consciousness, and that's God. So there's like a 0 point field where all life comes from, and that's like pre-Big Bang conditions, like whatever caused the Big Bang. And that's essentially what's going on right now in these altered states. Whenever I do psychedelics, I feel like I just disconnect from my body and I'm able to reach these 0 point fields of energy where, I don't know.
So here's the thing. Here's my belief about DMT and these drugs. I don't do them for this reason, that I think that it's better to try and get there without it. Because maybe not. Maybe it's not better. But what I mean is, if you do those things, and then what you're doing is basically blocking the indoctrination, right? Which is good. It's good. But I believe they can have harmful effects. Now, I don't know that. I can't test that. I can't tell you that. But I do think that, like, if you did a bunch of cocaine or something, your mind is then altered to the point where you kind of forget those blocks that have been put there. And you actually think all of a sudden, now you think like somebody who does DMT, they start thinking like, I'm going to meet this other world. I'm going to go other places. So you've now opened yourself up to that, something that you weren't open to before, right? So that's what I kind of think is going on there.
Yeah, that makes 100% sense. I feel you on that. That's one of the fundamental things that I have wrong with Buddhism, is that Buddhism, one of the Buddhist teachings, they tell you not to have any physical attachments to earth, and basically being a Buddhist is having an attachment to earth. So I don't really get that. I find fault in that.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna let you go, but thank you. Good talk.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Have a great night.
Peace. All right, let's check the phones real quick because I did say I'd get there. I don't want anybody waiting. Okay, we got a call. Number